Hello there. Let's learn about Scrivener. That'll make your writing so much easier and so much more fun. Hi, I'm Brad Swift, and this is the next phase of the Spark to Flame, fanning your passion-filled ideas into a finished and published book. And so today I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to the writing tool called Scrivener. Now, I've been using Scrivener for several years. I love it, and I have no stock in the company. I'm not even going to give you an affiliate link or any of that. I just want to let you know about it. So at the end of this video, you won't understand it. You won't necessarily know how to use it completely by any means. However, my intention is that you will be so excited about it that you will go ahead and give it a 30-day trial, which is what they offer. Now, when I say a 30-day trial, I'm not just saying you got 30 days to use it. You've got 30 actual days of using it. And unless they've changed it here recently, you can actually go on and use it a day, skip a few days, use another day. That counts for only 2 days. So I think by the end of that 30 days, you'll be as convinced as I am that it is the tool of choice, not only if you're just going to write this one book, but particularly if you have more than one book in you, which I know most of you actually do, whether you realize it or not. So we're going to take an overview of it. We're looking at a page of it right now. I'm going to first give you, got some notes over here, so I'm going to send my eyes over here from time to time. We're going to first look at a illustration example of how I use it with a series. So, again, as you know, I'm working on the 4th book in the Zach Bates Eco Adventure series. So that's what we're going to be looking initially. Then we'll switch gears and look at how to start fresh with a brand new Scrivener file, which most of you will probably be doing. And then I'm going to show you a few examples of other ways of using Scrivener that's not directly about writing, your next great American novel itself. Okay, again, by the time you're finished here, you won't understand it all, but the idea is that you are interested enough to give it a shot. I think if you do give it a shot, a legitimate shot for that 30 days, you'll want to purchase it. And that's the other great news. It costs less than $100. I think, in fact, it's something like $50, something like that. So again, it's one of the greatest bargains out there on the internet right now. Okay, enough of the sales pitch. Let's take a look at it. Okay, now what we're looking at here is the Zach Bates series. I have just found through the years that if I'm going to work on a series, I like to keep all the books together in one Scrivener file. So if I have research something that I can't remember, how old was that character, what color hair was that character, hair is supposed to be, I can go back right there in the file. I don't have to look up that next file and open it itself. So that's the way I like to do it. Again, you can do it however you want to, which again is one of the pluses of the whole experience with Scrivener, is that it's very flexible. It's very it's what I would call a deep program. In other words, there's a lot of different layers. You can start using it very effectively inside of that first 30 days, particularly with all the videos that the company provides, and also all the videos that you'll find by other authors on the internet itself. So that, again, this isn't important to give you all the step-by-step, but to give you a broad overview. Okay, now we're looking, this whole thing is all Scrivener. I'm going to actually just enlarge it a little bit. Now, there's 3 sections of the actual display itself. You have the binder, which you can hide if you want to. If you don't want to be distracted by it, you can just hide it and bring it back. You have over here the inspector, which you can hide and bring back. We'll go into both of those. And then this main board is where the writing actually gets done itself. Okay. Now the binder gives you kind of a menu of everything that you currently have there, the different files. Think of each part, each one that you're seeing there is either a folder with other files in it or the individual files. So again, in this area, you have basically 3 main areas itself. You've got where the actual writing takes place. which is, including the draft folder. You can't get rid of that folder. I actually tried earlier. You cannot say, I'm going to try to put it in the trash, won't go anywhere. Same thing with the research. You can't get rid of that. You really probably don't want to anyway. So it's, kind of a security. So you've got those two areas, and then the third area is you've got actually the trash itself. Okay, now, what I like about this is it's very flexible, like I said. This is the area that you're going to actually be creating your book itself, and here's how you can go about doing it. You could actually rename the draft, say by double clicking on that, I can name it. However, what I discovered here fairly recently is because you can't drag that, you can't even move the draft over here into the research area, what I find is easier to do is to actually create a folder down here, go down that way, okay? Down here is a folder, and there you created a folder. Okay, now I'm going to name that folder, and the working title is Junkyard Dogs. Okay, I might just say book 4, just because I want to. Okay, now, all right, so I've got a folder with that. Now, what do I put in that folder? Well, you can put a lot of things in there. What I like to put in is I like to write scene by scene. So I've got a scene blank here down in the research area. And the reason I like this one is I like to set up kind of a synopsis of what's the location of that scene, who is the point of view character, how many other characters, what are the characters in that scene, what's the time frame, and what are the main story points. Okay, now the other part that I use quite frequently are these 5 more or less questions that came from, I believe it was Chris Fox, who's a great writer and has his act together, I would say. So I like to use those sometimes as well. Scene goal, what does the reader need to know from this scene? Number 2, what emotions do I want to arouse? 3, point of view character, who has the most to lose in this scene? Setting details, just a few important details. And then number 5, how can I raise the tension and make the story even better? So all that's in there already. So if I take this, and by hitting on my Mac, it'll be different if you're a PCer, Control D, I just duplicated that, and now I'll drag that one, look at this, drag and drop, so easy, right into that thing. Now, one scene, not enough, right? So I can again hit Control D and create as many scenes as I want. Now, say I want to have the scenes, but I also want the scenes to be in chapters. I want to go ahead and start setting that up. I don't actually do it that way. I like to just write scenes, scenes, and then when it's time, I like to break them into the chapters. You can do it either way, but here's how you would do it. Go back down here to the folder, create a new folder, and you could label that folder Chapter 1. And then you could put this scene in there, you can put that scene in there, okay, and then if you want to create another chapter, you just go down here and do the same thing, except this time we're going to drag it over here. Everything's drag and drop, very simple. You want this under there, you want that under there, exactly. So, see, we've got now the basic template for the story itself, kind of the outline or the skeleton, I guess you could say, itself. Okay. Now, the other thing is I like to keep certain things in my awareness. So front matter is not actually intended for this. Front matter area here, that folder, is actually for the things that will be in the front of your book, like maybe an introduction or a dedication, something like that. However, I like to use it this way. I like to have things that I might want to use, but I also want to keep in my awareness. So I have story structure, a blank, which I'll end up using for Junkyard Dogs. But I wanted to also show you, this is one that I actually used, started to outline for the story Ivory. He's like, Ivory. And if you're familiar with Zach Bates' series, there wasn't a story named Ivory. That was the working title of what turned out to be Ghost Elephant. So I just want to leave that there to say, Don't worry about the title at this point, just to have a title. That's why I say Junkyard Dogs is the working title. It may or may not end up the title. But again, I wanted to be able to refer to that on a various basis without it actually being in the story, in the content of the story itself. So I put it up here. Again, can you notice all the flexibility? Trying to get that word out. Okay. Then the other great part is the research area. All this is stuff that you can put into the, that has been put into the research area. So I've got, information about the settings for Ghost Elephant. I got a research specifically area for Ghost Elephant. I'll just quickly open that up. You can see, quite a few files there. And some of those files would be things like that. This is actually a web page. So if you'll see, there's a little different icon, different there than from the, like the just straight, text. You can actually have web pages inserted in this area as well. So as long as you've got an internet connection, you can go right to the area. All right, here we go. So again, you can open and close these as much as you want. You can add new things here. So that gives you an overview of how to set it up. Now we're going to look at, make a shift in gears, and we're going to open up a brand new project. So you go up here to the file area, click on new project, and you'll see you've got project templates. So you can have, and we're going to go right on down here to fiction, and there's a number of different templates. You can have a straight novel template, novel with parts. There's some that K.M. Whalen did for outlining your novel template. And then I have one that I actually created myself. Oh, and you also have short stories. So if you're going to just do a short story, then you might want to start with that template. So this is one that I created because there were certain things that I consistently wanted to have in at the very beginning of the self. So we'll double click on that and we'll name it Test 2 and hit create. A little bit of movement there, and before you know it, boom, we have a new one up labeled Test 2. And now you'll see that there are some things here that were already there before. Premise development, 7-point structure. Wanted to make sure that I had a character template in there. These are all things that I inserted that you could insert your own, or you can start, from scratch, from the very, basic, novel format itself. Again, you got front matter here, you got your manuscript, and you got your research. Okay? All right, so that's how you would start from scratch with your particular book when you're ready to do so. So the reason I wanted to go ahead and get this done was I'm getting to the point in the development of the idea that I'm going to want to start filling some of this in. We'll go into a lot more details around the 7-point structure and all that, and how to, one approach that many authors use quite successfully, and I'm one that once I learned it, have started using quite a bit, is start with the beginning, with your hook if you can, but as close to the beginning of the story as you can. Start writing that, or outlining it, getting a sense of what that's going to be, and then jump down to the ending. What is that climactic ending? Where do you want everything to come together, whether it's going to be a happy ending or a sad ending? It comes together in this climactic moment. Might not be the very, very end of the book. There might be some loose ends to tie up, but you want to, start to get clear about where that is. So you got the starting point, you got the ending point, then it's simple, right? You just fill in everything in between. Obviously, that's not that simple, but at least it's simpler if you know where you're headed, rather than just, oh, I got this idea, let's see where it goes, and you go all over the map, and you might find in the process of going all over the map, a lot of those are blind alleys that you have to kind of back up from and never get to use, or maybe you'll get to use them, but it'll have to be in a whole different story or something like that. Okay, now, I'll show you real quickly a couple other ways that I've used this. I'm going to open a couple others. This one I'm going to open up, book, business, marketing, etc. And this is all the things, and I keep adding to this regularly. I pretty much keep it open because I want to be able to refer to this. Most of this information is alphabetical. If there's something that periodically I'm working on, you'd see quite a bit. And just about all of those have something, sometimes quite a few somethings, in the area itself. Drag and drop. I can move this. Right now I have the Zach Bates Book Club project, which has about the reading groups and all that up here, up in center, because I want to be able to find it quickly. Later, when I'm done with that project towards the end of this year, I'll move it down here under the Z's. Okay, so again, this is one way that you can use Scrivener to really organize a major project or a major part of your business. Second example, coming again, let's go up here to the window, a little easier to find it. We're going to look at the short fiction and nonfiction. Again, over time, I found that it's easier to bring all the short fiction and nonfiction, all my articles, all my essays, all my stories, short stories in development. Anything that's, a lot of what's in here are about 17 years of writing purposeful pondering e-zines. So all that material is in here, and I've used it in different ways. Right now, how I'm using it, I've got a year-long project called 80/20 social media, in which I'm posting something new every day, something new to the LinkedIn area, and that is in here. So if you look here, where that highlight is, that's the 80/20 social media area. Everything that I started posting on the 16th of July, and I'll continue. I already have a good bit of August, outline, and then I got all this other information that I've already written that I can pull from, and including when I add something new, something that's timely I want to write on, I'll put it in here. Whether it gets into the social media right away or at all, I'll have it in here where it's all together. So again, Scrivener's very adaptable for being used in a lot of different ways, not just writing the next great American novel. Okay, so again, we'll go into more about Scrivener, but I encourage you to, go to their website, download the free trial for 30 days, give it a shot. If you're part of the Spark to Flame LinkedIn group that I'm conducting, if you have any questions about this, post them there. And if you're not, and you happen to have gotten this some other way, then why not join the group? Because that's what we're here to support each other in writing that next great American novel, maybe the first novel for you that could become part of your living legacy. Again, this is Brad Swift. Thank you for listening, and may your life be filled with purpose, passion, and yes, plenty of play. Take care.